Hello and welcome to Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan,
I'm Ryan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into this Tuesday's episode, I want to talk to you about our Patreon. If you head over there, just for $5 a month, you help support the show, and also you get bonus content with that. But no main show content is locked behind there. But getting into today's episode, we are talking about 1977's Rolling Thunder, directed by John Flynn, everybody. It's a John Flynn week here. Uh, right? You picked a John Flynn movie?
Did I?
You didn't. No, I'm just making a joke. Yeah, no, John Flynn, he made a few movies. Nothing too crazy, nothing we've covered here. I think the most notable behind the scenes person is that Paul Schrader did the screenplay. He also made the story for this
Who's he?
movie. You might remember him from he from poker tournaments online. If you've ever played poker online, he might have been one of your somebody you were playing against.
Oh, the guy on Facebook. Yes.
Yeah, the Facebook, the social media person. What do you call that? An
Yeah,
influencer?
the 80 something year old social media influencer.
Yeah, that can hardly breathe. Yeah, he's my favorite influencer. Um, but yeah, so this is one of his earlier works. This is before he had directed a movie at this point, I believe. I believe he had made Blue
Blue
Collar.
collar.
Oh no, Blue Collar was the next year. So he hadn't even directed a movie yet. But he had written a few movies, most notably Taxi Driver, which this movie was actually, when the story was conceived, was meant to be like a pseudo sequel to Taxi Driver. And I guess in the original draft,
Huh.
Travis Bickle shows up in the movie,
Oh my
but that
God.
was
It's
cut out.
like it's like a cinematic universe.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly,
Ah,
I'm for it because like this is so early in his career. Before this, the dude just makes like the same type of movie over and over again. It's like the
pretty
same
much.
thing. So like if it's a cinematic universe, it kind of makes sense.
Like this Travis Bickle just shows up and he's just like, room for one more, need some help, buddy. Like
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, it's like Travis Bickle's like the Avengers or something,
like
like or forms the
like
Avengers.
that would be like the post credit scene of this movie.
Yeah, they go up to I don't know who's another famous like fucked up person. They go up to Richard Gere, American Gigolo. We we need you for
Or
go ahead.
Mishima. It just shows.
Oh, there we go. I would love that. Mishima. There we go. Um, but no, so Rolling Thunder is the story of Major Charles Rain, played by William Devane, who comes back from Vietnam along with Tommy Lee Jones, and he is a prisoner of war. And you get right into the movie. They fly in, and the whole town is just cheering them on, celebrating this return from a prisoner of war camp. They're kind of town celebrities, which I guess I never thought that would be a thing. Because like he even gets like a Charles Rain, he even gets like a groupie, a girl that will follow him around, loves him, like he's like almost like a famous person, which is an odd angle because I never thought a prisoner of war like did John McCain when he came back from the war, everyone just like he had groupies, he had a stock of women just waiting to sleep with him. I don't know, just a bit odd.
And they
Um,
gave they gave him a bunch of free stuff and everything, and just like,
yeah,
just
here's a bunch of silver dollars.
here's some silver dollars, a brand new car, and well, I mean, he was there for a really long time. He was there for
Yes.
like, I think it was like 6 or 7 years. I think he was a POW,
Yeah. It was a long
and
time.
yeah, because it was literally like when he left, his son was a toddler or like a baby, and came back, and his son was like 10 or something, or not 8 or 9.
Yeah, much older, to the point where like the dad doesn't even like recognize him. And I mean, right off the bat, you know what's happened. You know, it's the classic wife cheated on him while he was gone because she thought he was dead. So she's already sleeping with another man. and that guy's friendlier to the child and calls him a runt, which which Charles later is like, I would like it if you didn't call my son a runt. But here's the thing that's really odd. This character, Rain, he's almost emotionless in a way, and I don't know if that's from the war or how it's played, but like he finds out his wife is with another man, and he just is like, okay, I want to be in my son's life, but whatever, you do you.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's become just a shell in a way.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean that to me that's
Hmm.
like 100% like PTSD. I mean, he's
Hmm.
just like he doesn't have any strong emotional connections or anything like that, and just was pretty much just like, yeah, all right, I'll just as long as I can be with my son, I don't really if my marriage is over, it's over
Yeah,
type of thing.
yeah, and he sleeps out in the shed, and you could tell the son thinks that's so weird, doesn't quite understand what's going on with him. There's a really interesting scene later in the movie where a guy shows up in the shed, and they talk and like talk about how he was tortured, and he gets the guy to torture him like he did in the camp. So like gets him to like bind his arms behind his back and raise them.
Wasn't that the isn't that who his
It
wife is
is,
marrying? That's the
yes.
cop.
Yeah, that's the cop. That's the guy who his wife is with, and like it's a crazy scene because he does it to him and he forces him to do it higher and higher, and it's almost like he enjoys it. But that's the point, right? Is that how he survived that long is by just almost not caring for what happened to him. Um,
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like making it showing like what he like went through so we have a better sense of like how he had to deal with that type of stuff and why he's the way he is.
Yeah, it's honestly a very dark movie. The whole
Yeah.
thing, like the idea and everything, it's very dark. But the first 30 minutes of this movie is just him dealing with PTSD, going around town, talking to his family. It is a very slow start, almost to the point where I was like, oh, I mean, is did I just pick like a coming home drama? Like he comes home and it's him dealing with PTSD. Like did Schrader do this? I mean, I should have known better, but I was like, dang, this is slow to get into like a real like
Mhm.
pivotal moment in the movie. Um, I kind of like that. I think it lets you settle in and understand the character a little bit more before the revenge plot starts up.
I'll be honest, I actually like this part more than the revenge plot stuff.
I get
Like,
that.
I mean, not that to say I didn't like the second half of this movie, but I really just like this character just like totally just feeling like he's just going through the motions or he has like I, I guess it would be like what, like survivor's guilt or what, you know, I mean, it
Hmm.
was just because when he's going through all the town, you could tell like when everyone's like think like, oh yeah, glad to have you back or whatever. Like, and he has to go to this big ceremony where they're like, where they cut down this sign that's just like, call your local government and tell them we want him
Hmm.
back alive. And you could just tell he's just really not into this. And he's just like, I just want this to be over. Because when they give him the silver dollars and then they give him Makar, you know, he's just like, thank you. Yeah. And it's just
Yeah. It's a very interesting job by William Devane, who is just already a very interesting looking guy. But I think he does a good job here playing pretty emotionless, not engaged type person. Because yeah, they give him those silver dollars, and she's like, "What are you gonna do with it?" And he says, "I'm just gonna hide it somewhere," and that's it.
yeah.
And yeah, and everyone claps. One interesting thing about this movie is Tommy Lee Jones is in it, who is at this time he had been in movies. He is not in this movie for a very long portion of this movie. So
Mm.
the big moment in this movie is that the silver dollars are stolen. So a group of men come in because they saw on TV that he got those, and they beat him up, and then kill his wife and kid. They try to kill him, but he survives. Um, I thought, I thought because Tommy Lee Jones is a celebrity, a bigger actor that he would have a bigger role in that, like almost like he set that up or something, kind of like
Yeah.
a big reveal. But no, Tommy Lee Jones is just in this movie and at the end to help him out whenever Charles figures out who's there. Um, I don't know. I guess maybe mine's too far-fetched. But I kind of like that idea. I was like, oh yeah, it's him. He planned it. He wanted to get that
Mhm.
money because
That
maybe he didn't get anything.
well, like that's exactly what I thought too, where
Okay.
because there's a scene later in the movie, like after William Devane like goes and does like his own reconnaissance on like on his on those people,
Hmm.
and he comes back to like Tommy Lee Jones's house, and it's like, oh hey, let's go in this room or whatever, and he was just like, uh, he's like, and he goes in there and tells Tommy Lee Jones like, oh, I found them, and Tommy Lee Jones is like, huh, what do you mean, type of thing, and it's just so that's when I was thinking that I thought this because I didn't know how much was left in the runtime or whatever.
Hmm.
I was like, oh my God, it's like it's gonna be him. Like he was the one that set this whole thing up because he wanted the silver dollars or whatever. And but no, that's not what happens.
No, no, no. It's pretty cut and dry that these people are just bad men and he's gonna hunt them down. He actually takes a trip down to Mexico with the groupie girl that's with him, played by Linda Haynes. And then I think the character's name in the movie's Linda as well. That must be so nice.
Okay. Did you think it was weird that her character she's like almost 30, they say? Like she's like, oh, I'm almost 30 or something,
Yeah, I
but
think
like
she says like 28, something like
yeah,
that.
but like they portray her like she's like a lot older, you know?
Oh, I know. They treat her like 28, and she's like, "Yeah, my life's half over. I'm over the
Oh,
hill."
yeah.
And it's like,
Right. And
"Really?"
she's like, she's like, oh yeah, I'm almost 30. Like I have experienced a lot in my life. It's just like, like she's just like some sage old woman. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
really
like
weird.
that sounds like Paul Schrader. Like, oh yeah, she's over 25. She's done all of her use in the world
Yeah,
is over.
yeah, she's an old woman now. Who would ever want to sleep with somebody under over 25?
Except for this military guy.
But he's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, he'd be crazy to do that. Uh, but yeah, no, I agree. I think that's odd. I think I this character is really weird to me because I think I like the idea of her, but I think the parts that she's in the movie are the weakest parts of the movie, which is the him kind of meandering around Mexico figuring out who these people are. It reminds me of Hardcore actually. That whole part where he's in the porn industry interviewing people and that all comes together. That's fun because it's a fun world that he digs into. He goes undercover. This guy just goes to bars. He actually sends her in to bars. Is like ask for him. She gets in trouble, almost gets beat up. He goes in, saves the day, and then just follows the clues. It's just not an interesting underbelly to explore, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really feel like that character was really utilized that well.
Yeah,
I don't think she was a bad character or even like I gave a bad performance necessarily. It's just, I don't really think like the character did really think anything that pivotal, and it never really felt like it was that needed because the final act of the movie, she's gone.
yeah, yeah. She doesn't help at all. She's out of the movie. Um, So I mean, like, it makes you think, like, what was the point of all this other than just to have him have a partner for the movie? And they kind it feels like they set up that she would help out because he has guns and they're practicing shooting, and she shoots a shotgun. It's like, oh yeah, I was a tomboy. My dad always taught
Hmm.
me to shoot guns. It's like, okay, yeah, she's gonna be a part of this. No, she's not. She's out.
No,
But
yeah, and the first sign of danger, she's just like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it all comes together when Tommy Lee Jones comes into it. And then they go to like this, it's like I don't know, like a brothel,
Yeah.
where all of them are at, and he sets it up, and Tommy Lee Jones has to go inside and pretend to be sleeping with a prostitute in order to be then inside man while like he comes in to shoot up the place. And Tommy Lee Jones gets really close to screwing this prostitute. Like William Devane is taking his time coming in, and the prostitute's like unbuckling his pants and everything. Just
Yeah.
pushing it,
Well, I
almost
mean,
there.
like you could, I mean, that part was funny because it was like he was trying not to sleep with her. He was trying to think of like reasons to
Uh-huh.
not sleep with her, and he was saying, "Oh, I'm having some trouble right now, and
Hmm.
I think I might have to leave, the type of thing where, and you could tell she's like heard this stuff before because she's just like, oh, like
Yes.
just kind of like rolls her eyes and it's like, come here, and like they just start like, she starts kissing him and like unbuttoning his shirt, and he's like almost like, I guess I have to sleep with her. I mean, I wasn't planning to, but I guess I have to, type of thing.
Yeah, to make this work. But I guess, and then he comes in, and then there's a giant shootout in the brothel. This part definitely felt like Taxi Driver to me. The final scene, Travis Bickle shoots up the people. It's like the same thing, except maybe like a little darker in my eyes. There's something about like the imagery of a place filled with innocent people, and both of them have shotguns that are just blowing people away in this public space and it
Yeah.
that just doesn't it wasn't as exciting, I guess. Maybe it wasn't exciting, also just felt kind of odd. And I don't know how to explain it. I didn't think I liked this movie a lot as a whole, but just the ending here maybe just didn't sit with me very well.
I agree. I think it could have been a little better ending one. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the shootout wasn't bad, but it's just something where it's just like, this is really just isn't really filmed like in a really dynamic way, or like
No.
I don't really feel like I'm immersed in all this. I mean, there was some good moments like with, they were like they just like walk in and just like blast some of the guys away, but
Hmm.
um and then the movie just kind of like, once the shootout is over, it's just like, oh, it's over. Movie over.
Yeah, yeah, it's the 70s. That's how movies just ended then. It was like, oh, well, the climax ended, so we're gonna move on from here. And they both survive. Yeah, I feel like there is a good movie here. I do think if Schrader directed this one, it would probably be a better remembered movie because there's not as many moments of dynamic filmmaking. There's like a few moments early in the movie where we get quick cuts to him at the POW camp while he's doing stuff. That's real. I
Hmm.
think that's good. But I think in the end, it just becomes very basic. It doesn't have anything quite stylish to make it stand out.
No, and it's not a bad movie. I like this one too.
Yeah.
The thing I would say though is, I think like the revenge part of it was, um that was probably like, I don't really think it was that needed. I think I would have loved to have seen a movie where it was him coming back from home, and at first, he's really like despondent and everything and like really distant, like kind of like how he is in the beginning of the movie. And then I would have liked to have seen him get progressively worse,
Hmm.
just getting like almost like a psychological horror, kind of like Jacob's Ladder almost.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Um,
And maybe not quite as stylized as that, but just something where it was him more like it was more of a battle between himself.
Yeah. This movie isn't really psychological. It's a straight drama, but a movie about coming back from war, PTSD that I think is good is Coming Home, the John Voight movie. Have you ever seen that one?
I have
It's
not, no.
yeah, it's directed by Hal Ashby. Very very good movie. Not really dark, but I mean it's about PTSD. It's about coming home. Great performances. Shout out to John Voight. He never did anything wrong. Uh,
Never.
no, never. He was never in Super Baby Geniuses. Um, that's his one crime.
Or Anaconda.
Yeah, no. But I think that sums up my feelings. I think it's a really good movie. I think it's really solid. It's one of Tarantino's all-time favorites. Of course it is. But I do think I like it. But Ryan, just to extend this a little bit more, we've now covered three Paul Schrader movies. Well, actually, I guess this wasn't directed, so let's not rank it, actually. Let's keep it outside the ranking. I was going to say, because compared to Hardcore and American Gigolo, which we both covered, anyway, I think this one would be the worst of those, that three anyway.
I would say that, yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't even matter. One day we'll cover more Schrader flicks. We got to do Blue Collar.
What's better, American Gigolo or Hardcore though?
Ooh, that's a good question. Oh, both are really good movies. I think as far as style goes, I think I like American Gigolo more. I think like as an experience, I like its mood a bit better.
I think so too. I would probably agree with that.
Yeah, both are great though. Well, one day
Um,
maybe we'll do the year of Schrader.
yeah, there you go. We'll have him on. I'm sure he would come in and like just start
Oh yeah.
ranting and raving.
If I just
Like
asked
just
him,
like just give him a hot mic and just like you can say whatever you want. Like it's
you
not a
know,
big deal.
you know how many views we would get from that? That'd be great. And then we get to talk about The Walker, Dominion prequel to The Exorcist, all of his like garbage movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I want to get Paul Schrader in the room and just talk about the canyons where
Yeah,
Adam
it's like
resurrected.
yeah, I was thinking of the canyons.
Hey, yeah, so how was your time on the canyons? Your magnum opus.
Yeah, how was Lindsay?
Yeah, oh yeah. I wonder if they're still in contact. Uh
Maybe.
yeah. But anyway, I do think that wraps it up for this one. But Ryan, what are we going to be covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, we are going to be talking about 1988's Dead Ringers, and that is on Peacock right now and Tubi, I believe.
Yeah, I watched it on Tubi.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm excited for that one. And be sure to email us at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon. But until next time.
Until next time.